Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of CB Book Club. I am your host, Danielle. CB Book Club is a short video series that runs on CBTV and through which we showcase our talented local writers and their work. Our hope is to arouse interest and to get people to read books by local authors to fill their free time. Today, we are very happy to welcome Ms. Khaila Gentle to our show as our featured writer. Thanks for joining us today, Khaila.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
It is my pleasure in having you. Khaila is not just my friend, but she is also my primary school schoolmate, and I am so happy to showcase your work. And besides you coming first every year, it's still a pleasure to have you with me.
Thank you.
So Khaila, let's get right into it. Please start off by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I am a 25-year-old poet, writer, and recently an author. I managed to publish my first ever book May of this year, Crossroads, my first ever collection of poetry. I was born and raised right here in Belize City, and I've been writing basically for as long as I can remember.
So Khaila, I heard you say that you have been writing for as long as you can remember, but what contributed to your writing skills?
I would definitely say that reading contributed to my writing. I'm not the fastest reader, but I do read a lot. At the age of, say, 12 or 13, I remember my grandma giving me my first book. It was The Chronicles of Narnia. And ever since then, I just kept on reading and kept on writing as well. So definitely that practice of just writing stuff, regardless of if it's good or bad, that also helped contribute to the skill that I have now.
Perfect. And so what inspired you to go into a book of short poems like this one? It's very different and far from Narnia, but what inspired you to go into this one?
Yeah, with Crossroads, they're definitely not in Narnia, but this collection of poems, it's very near and dear to my heart because it talks a lot about some of the struggles that I have had personally with mental health, the ups and downs of life, and I think what inspired me to publish it is, I suppose, this desire to connect with readers and to kind of let people know that regardless of whatever you might have going on, you know, you're going to come out of it okay and it's going to be okay in the end.
And so what message basically did you intend to impart on your readers? Crossroads is a great book. It's a great name of a book. And what inspired that? What lesson would Crossroads leave with its readers?
So even from the name Crossroads alone, I chose the name because in mythology, in a lot of folklore, it's believed that the crossroads, that's where two roads intersect, that place is kind of believed to be the place where the world of life and death kind of come to meet. And so what I wanted to paint was this picture of all the ups that we have in life and all the low points that we have in our lives, that the place where all those things intersect, that is where you'll find the essence of life itself. And I kind of wanted to show that, you know, it's not all bad and it's not all struggle and difficulty. That exists, but there's also a lot of growth and self-love and self-discovery that we go throughout our lives.
Perfect. So Khaila, I think this is a great time for your book, just based on the circumstance that we are all living in. I've read Crossroads, and it talks about love, and it talks about being sad, it talks about losing people, but it also talks about gaining yourself. What has been the feedback to you from persons who have read this book?
Definitely, and I definitely agree with you that it's very fitting, especially now considering that I feel like a lot of people are going through a hard time right now. The feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. I've had many people come to me and say, I get it. I get what you're trying to say. Other people have said, like I see myself in these poems and I relate to these poems. And I think that in itself, it means so much to me to hear those words and to know that there are people out there that understand Crossroads and really enjoy it.
Perfect. That sounds really, really good. So tell me, how important is this book to you and your family?
Well, I like to say that Crossroads is my baby. It's very, very near and dear to my heart because when I hold that book in my hands, what I'm holding is essentially my one greatest dream in life, to be a published author. And I'm very proud of my book and I'm proud of myself for how far I've come. And I know that my family definitely shared the same sentiments. They've told me constantly, how proud they are of me for what I've done and what I continue to do as well. So Crossroads definitely means the world and then some to me.
So, Kyla, for aspiring authors who are at home and are afraid to publish or unsure of how to publish, maybe they're struggling with how long it takes to write a book, or maybe they're just those people who have all the noise in their head. What advice or encouragement would you have for them?
Well, I definitely can relate to what you said about, having all that noise in your head and all the doubts. And I think to those people, I would just like to say, just keep going at it. Even if you feel like quitting and even if you don't really know how it's going to turn out, just keep going at it. It's going to take long. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of sweat and tears, but it's also going to be very, very rewarding in the end, especially if it's what you know that you want to do in life. It's going to be so rewarding and you're going to be so, so proud of yourself when you do reach that finish line.
I know it's a bit early to ask, but are you working on any other books right now?
Yes, I am actually. I recently finished the first draft of my next book, which this time it's going to be a work of fiction titled Ryan and the River Nymph. What I can say right now is that it's a book that's based in Belize and based on mythology and folklore. So I'm excited about that.
I hope that you come back to me so that we can speak about that book. I'm so proud of you. So, for the people at home who might want to purchase a copy of Crossroads, how can they do that?
So Crossroads is available on Amazon in both print and ebook format. For those of us here in Belize, I do have a few copies still available. You can get that by contacting me through Instagram at kgentlewrites. I'm also working on getting them into the local bookstores here at home. So you can stay tuned and look out for announcements regarding that aspect.
So, finally, as is our tradition here at the book club, are there any must reads that you want to recommend for our readers at home?
So two books that I would like to recommend. The first is one I recently read by a fellow Belizean author, Miss Ivory Kelly. It's called Pengereng, and it's a collection of, I believe, two short stories. And I think the fascinating thing about that book is that it has a Creole translation in the back, which I think is an amazing feat considering that many of us struggle to write or understand Creole sometimes. And another book, not by a Belizean author, but by a Caribbean author, it's The Lesson by Cadwell Turnbull, and it's a sci-fi book. So if you're into like alien invasions and that kind of stuff, it's definitely a really, really great read.
You are definitely as humble as how I remember it because most readers recommend their book first. But Khaila, it was truly a pleasure talking with you. Thank you very much for your time. And we are inspired by your passion and we look forward to more of your work and to just read and be enlightened by all the stuff that you continue to put out.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure being here and chatting with you for a while.
Thank you so much, Khaila. Bye.
Bye.
Viewers, thanks for tuning in to CB Book Club. Remember, we have an open invitation for any Belizean author who wishes to join us. Just send us an email to info@colorblind.bz and someone will reach out to you. So, until next time, keep reading. Goodbye.